I'm Janice Banther, and today we're doing part 2 about doula and working with a sexually abused mom. We had the part 1 a few weeks ago, and I wanted to have a little space in between so some of you could tell some of your friends and have a chance to see that before I did part 2. So today is the part 2, and we're going to talk about the different kind of triggers that the women have. And I also did a video a few weeks ago, about a month ago, about panic attacks. A lot of things that we talk about in panic attacks you can use also in women who've been sexually abused, as far as different things you can do to bring them back in the here and now, as we talked about in the panic attack video. So today we're going to be talking about the different kind of triggers. And again, what I would really encourage you to do is to buy Penny Simpkins' book, When Survivors Give Birth. Because all I'm saying is in her book, only she says 100% better and goes into much more detail and gives a lot more information. So this can just get you started off into thinking about that. Maybe you've never thought about this before. And reading her book, you'll get even more information. And I noticed there are quite a few blogs out there too that dealt with this. Some of them you might want to kind of steer away from. Some, they're right on point with what you're trying to learn. And today we're going to be talking about the triggers, and the different triggers of being smells, words, touch, and positions. First thing is smells. Usually the smells in a hospital would not trigger someone who's been sexually abused unless they were always in a sterile environment and had those kind of smells. But if smells is one of the problems they do have, it is wise, just like we talked about in the panic attack, to have maybe some cotton balls that has a nice aroma on it that you can keep close by, that you can keep by her pillow or something, and that way, or whatever position she's in, maybe you're wearing the little tiny cotton ball and she can smell it on you, and help her to bring it back to the here and now and not think about the smells that she had when she was smelling when she was sexually abused. You don't usually have that in the hospital. You may definitely have it if you were doing a home birth. Might be smells in the house. Probably not in a birthing center. So that's something you still need to be aware of and to have on hand something that could help you during that time. And she might even mention in a prenatal interview certain smells that bother her. And you can even ask that very casually without asking her, has she been sexually abused? But are there certain smells that you don't like, that bother you? And you might be amazed what she says. I mean, it might come out of the whole, left realm saying fried okra, which you don't believe you'll be smelling fried okra when she's giving birth. But it might be something that she just might bring up, and along with other smells, maybe the smell of certain kinds of foods, certain kind of foods that might trigger something that brings back her memories of her sexual abuse. The other one is words. And one word, and I bet before I say it, you can know what it is, a word that people say a lot. Care providers say this a lot during examinations, and it's a word we say often. And I bet you've already guessed it. It's the word relax. Just relax. Just relax. And when they're having a vaginal exam, and they hear a doctor, a caregiver, a nurse, midwife, a doctor say, oh, just relax. And you need to think back, probably that's what her abuser said to her when she was being abused, is relax, just relax. If you'll relax, you'll be okay. This is easy, and the different things that she was told. So you need to learn different ways of using the word relax. Look it up in a thesaurus. It's a good project for you to do, write down the word relax and all the different words you can use to say the same meaning, but not use that word. Let your body give in. Let your body sink into the bed while you're having this exam. Or let your body, just using different kind of visualizations. A lot of times I'll even use the thought, instead of saying relax, saying, think about a rag doll and how she just kind of sinks into a pillow or wherever she's laying. And that rag doll effect, when you think about a rag doll, they probably had one as a child. Or if they have the animals, a dog or a cat, and think about, and the name of their animal, so the name of the animal is Casey, and they have a cat. Think of Casey and how she looks all curled up in a ball, nice and soft, and she's purring in the warm sunshine outside from a window. And she has that visual in her mind, and she knows that's very, very relaxing, but you're not using that word relax. So think about the words that can really bring back a thought about when she was being abused. When that part of her body is being examined that was also abused. So trying to think of the different ways of using the word relax. And you'll think of other words too that might have been said during an abuse time that you can steer away from and be able to change that word into wording to be easier for her and to help her have a much better birth memory and not go back in that thinking of when she was sexually abused. Another one is touch. Obviously touch is the big one. And I had a mom that, this was many, many years ago, and her main abuse was with her breasts. And I knew her from really almost the time she found out she was pregnant on. And so we spent a lot of time together, long before her childbirth classes and long before she had her baby and I was the doula. And she desperately wanted to breastfeed, but she just didn't see how she could do it because that's where her abuse really was from her breasts. And through a lot of talk therapy, a lot of support groups that she went to, and just working it out and doing different things, she did successfully breastfeed. And not only successfully breastfeed that child in the beginning, but for over a year, and successfully breastfed 2 more children. That may not always happen. That was a definite win-win all the way around. And helped her so much in her growth, and not being able to let the sexual abuse win out over her ability of giving her baby the best thing that the baby could have. But some women can't get over it. And so to judge a woman who does formula feed her baby, although all of us, when we see bottles, it does make us go, you don't know the reason why. Don't judge her. You don't know what she's been through in the past. It may not be just a source of convenience. It may be a source of that this is the only way she could feed her baby because she could not stand to have her breasts touched. So be careful on judging somebody when you do see somebody with a bottle on that part. Also, other parts of your body, when they're being examined, trying to go ahead and get them started thinking in a different realm of ways of thinking before an examination starts, or before they start pushing and they have a lot of vaginal exams in. If they're having a midwife, they have very, 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 very few exams. If they're giving birth in a hospital with a doctor, they're going to have a few more. And so just to prepare them before they do that, don't have to say, okay, we are now going to get ready to prepare yourself for an exam. You don't have to say that. You know that as a doula, the things we say as they start putting the bed down, if they're in a hospital birth, you can start saying, okay, well, just think about that special place in your head that you like to go to when you're thinking about something that's special that you like to do, maybe skiing or being at the beach, or maybe holding your favorite animal, your dog, your cat, something like that. And start saying that as she's getting into position. Not that you're trying to say, okay, we're going to try and trick your mind now, but saying things that will help her to be able to get over that lump and be able to have that exam. Didn't say it was going to be completely easy. She still may try and get up to the very top of the bed during an examination, or try and close her legs closed during the examination. And it's not your goal to make sure that she keeps her legs completely spread during the examination and to keep her from going all the way up. It is your goal to help her to make this the best situation possible. She may not be able to get past that, but at the same time, say those things that are positive to her that will help her get through this. Let's take some deep breaths, and let's take our bottom like it would be at the end of a Kegel, and think about that special place, and just listen to my voice. Okay, and a lot of times what I have said that has worked really good is when I know it's true, I'll say, like, use my name, Janice, you're in a safe room. I'm a safe person. Nothing's going to harm you in this room. There is no one here. And you mentioned the love support that they have there with them, their partner. You mentioned if their mother's in the room or a sister, and their caregiver. If you know they really, really have a lot of trust in their caregiver, that they're in a safe room. And if you keep saying that to them, you're in a safe room, they realize no harm can come to them, should not come to them in that room, because you have said this and you've made sure that around them it is safe. The other one is positions. And obvious, when you give birth, there's a lot of positions you get into that would be the same way in positions you would get into if you were being sexually abused. An obvious one is all fours. And that's why I strongly encourage people who do childbirth education classes in the first class, just because you don't know anybody in the classroom, everybody's brand new, and you say, okay, let's all get down and practice the double hip squeeze. Well, that's very vulnerable for a woman who doesn't know anybody else in the room, and you get her on all fours and decide to do double hip squeeze. So you want to introduce that later in a childbirth class. And when you're talking about positions, either in a prenatal interview, hopefully in a prenatal interview, as a doula, that you're talking to her about positions to get into. And when you mention that one, say, you know, the double hip squeeze, this is what we would do. You're talking about in the house. This is there anything in that position that would make you not want to get into it? And you can word it the correct way. saying it the way I just did would be wrong. That's a good way. That's a good example of saying it wrong. But to say, was that position okay with you? Did you feel comfortable doing that? Did it feel like we were having our hands in the right place and doing the double hip squeeze? And if she kind of says anything, one of the things you can do just automatically without finding out if she's been sexually abused or not is to make sure that when she is in that position that the bottom part of her is not facing the outside of the room, like towards the door. Maybe if she's on the floor doing all fours, that the bottom part of her is facing a wall. So she feels very safe. No one's going to come up behind her and hurt her. Or if she's doing it on the bed, she is on all fours, but her hands are at the foot of the bed, and her knees are where her shoulders would be, you know, and she's in that position. Also taking a blanket or a sheet and covering over half of her body makes it feel real comfortable. I've also suggested sometimes mom wear a pair of shorts, you know, something that's very comfortable, has the elastic maternity shorts, and she can push them off, take them off and on easily when she has to go to the bathroom, and also if she has to have an exam. But when she's around doing positions, she feels like she's dressed. She is dressed and not so vulnerable. That's something else to be thinking about. Maybe having a pair of shorts. Does she pack a pair of shorts in her birth bag? And she would definitely have that at a home birth, already have her clothes. And even in a birthing center, you're thinking it's a very safe place and it's a wonderful place and a calming place. If she's been sexually abused, still getting that position, she needs to feel very secure, very safe in that position, and wherever you place her in the room. These are just a few things that we've gone over. And in the years I've been a doula, I have faced quite a few women who have been sexually abused. And it's very sad when you think how many you do face in your lifetime that have told you, and other ones who have not told you, but you can tell by different things that they do during their labor that it's very hard for them to do. A lot of times their labor stalls out. And something that I learned from Penny Simkin years ago, and it does good for me to re-say it and learn it again and again in my reading from her books or from her DVDs or anything I'm reading, is saying one thing that's important: if the labor just kind of stalls out, what you thinking about? Just ask that in between contractions. What you thinking about? Maybe she's stalled out at 5 centimeters for 4 or 5 hours. So what's going on here? Find out from her. What you thinking about? Do it maybe when you're in a private, quiet place, and that will really help. One more place I wanted to mention, and I'm sorry, I just came back to my mind. Another place that at home, at a birthing center, a home birth or a hospital birth, that may be very uncomfortable for her is the bathroom. A bathroom is a room where a door is closed. A lot of times abuse can happen, had happened in her bathroom. So privacy for her in her bathroom is, for some women, of the utmost importance, of nobody being in there. When a lot of them we have, they want us in there holding on to us as they're going to the bathroom or getting in and out of the shower. You've got to be aware that some of these women may feel very vulnerable having that second person in there if it's not their partner. So be aware of that, that even in the bathroom you've got to be careful, because that could be a room also where they were abused. A lot of stuff out there, isn't it? So many things to think about that you never thought about. And even while I'm speaking, other things are coming in my head. But I don't like these videos to be longer than 10 minutes. So you need to be thinking and reading that book, Survivors of Sexual Abuse, and see how, when they give birth, and see ways you can help your moms now and in the future have a much better birth experience. Even though they did go through this horrid time in their life of being sexually abused, or may still being sexually abused, that you can help them have the best birth experience possible and protect the mother during this time. I hope this has been a help to you. If you have better ideas, and I'm sure you do, and more ideas, please email them to me. All the information is below this video. I would love to hear from you and hear ways that you have learned, books that you know of, blogs that you know of, vlogs that you know of, and maybe some seminars coming up that other women could take and learn more about how to help the woman who is giving birth has been sexually abused. Tough subject to cover, but it has to be covered for our moms. So good to see you again here on this video, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye.